So our first presenter is Agnieszka Przeszlowska, and she is from the Uncompahgre Watershed Partnership. She used to be our coordinator, and now she's a project manager for many of our projects. And her presentation is Making a Difference in the Uncompahgre Watershed.
Good morning and welcome everyone. The goal of my presentation today is to give you an overview of our watershed and to highlight some of the key projects that have happened to date and are coming down the pipeline. And I really appreciated Dennis's comment of articulating or giving that conceptual basis of how we as a community have evolved in our process of problem solving and actually getting to a point of performing and trying really hard to make a difference in our watershed.
Typical. All right, hold on. All right, now do it. There you go.
Easier to move over. So this is the Uncompahgre Watershed from its headwaters at Lake Como. Right here.
Point.
All the way to the confluence of the Gunnison River. That's 75 miles of the river, and this whole area drains about 1,100 square miles. Most of the work that the Uncompahgre Watershed has been doing and focusing on, and that's been informed by a comprehensive watershed plan that's been completed for the entire watershed, has been focused in the headwaters, or south of Uray right here. And that's the area I'll be focusing on today. Next slide. So starting at the beginning, it all comes down to geology, really. So the headwaters of the Uncompahgre River are in the northwest flank of the Silverton caldera. So about 26 million years ago, hydrothermal alteration of the fractured granitic rock deposited a lot of veins or deposits in these veins that you can see here that are radial in extent. These are primarily rich in base metal sulfides, silver tellurides, and gold. Therefore, mining, which began in this area in the late 1800s. You can see some of the base sulfides, which are the red in color here in the Red Mountains, is pyrite, is iron sulfide, and that's the natural process of weathering of that mineralized rock, as well as disturbances from mining, are contributing to the color of Red Mountain Creek and its chemistry. The geology in the southwest area of our basin camper, it's a different geology. There's more limestone than one tuff, so it's more basic. The chemistry is different, and we see slightly different impairments in that area. Maybe I'm not pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, you want to point it just.
Okay. So those rich ore deposits drew a lot of miners here in the 1800s, and they primarily mined for silver, gold, lead, copper, and zinc. This map highlights the extent of those mining features that still remain in our region today. It's a little bit hard to see perhaps, but this is the Uncompahgre Watershed, the San Miguel here, and then the Animas down here. And what this map shows is basically, I'm going to put in a plug for a new tool that's coming down the line, and it's the Colorado Abandoned Mining Lands Info Hub. There's a poster on it at the CDPG table next door. But this is an effort that's a statewide effort to basically compile one common database that pulls all the inventory information from different agencies into a geodatabase that you can view and search in context of other layers. And then you can pick up feature and then contact that agency to get more data and information. So anyway, as you can see, there is a lot of mining, and that mining, most of it, the legacy mining and the natural processes that occur in our basin are contributing to the water quality that we have in our streams.
Why it's not working?
Oh, this one. Thank you. So this is the headwaters to be doing this just south of Uray. And what I'm showing here is the water quality status especially in the impaired streams. These red streams are those that have been listed on Clean Water Act 303D list, meaning they do not meet water quality standards, and for that reason, they require total maximum daily load development. A TMDL is basically the maximum amount of a pollutant that a body can have in it and still meet water quality standards. So in our watershed, we have TMDLs currently for the Uncompahgre River here. Some of these creeks also have listings on Colorado's monitoring and evaluation list, and that's just a list that the state maintains and puts streams that they're concerned about and are further evaluating to determine if those constituents are big problems and if they should be removed or listed again. So in our watershed, we have Sneffels Creek that has impairments from cadmium and zinc, Imogene Creek, cadmium, zinc, and copper, Canyon Creek, lead. This is the Camp-Bird Basin. Upper Red Mountain Creek is listed for silver and copper, Great Copper Gulch, copper, iron, and pH, low acidity. Uncompahgre for manganese, cadmium, copper, zinc, and lead, and then Mineral Creek, copper, and zinc. And these lists are not static. They're constantly being evaluated based on data that are collected across the state and different watersheds by different entities. So for that reason, they come up for reviews periodically. And the next slide highlights proposed listings. These are just proposals that will be coming up, and they've been informed by water quality data that have been collected here primarily by the division. So in the yellow cells, you can see the proposed changes. And what's coming up potentially, if approved, now it's working.
That's
Can
me.
you go back to slide for a second? Is a governing basin is going to be likely listed for these constituents. Canyon Creek is going to get zinc added, but come off for lead for Colorado. Several changes for Great Copper Gulch, Mineral Creek, and a lot going up on in the Uncompahgre, both the upper and the lower stretch. So what I'm showing here in black font is the TMDL. So this is the section that had TMDLs developed in 2010, I believe, for cadmium, copper, and zinc. But the state is working on revising some of those TMDLs and calculating new ones because there have been changes in standards. And Holly Brown is here, our TMDL specialist for the region. She's right here. So she has a lot of information on that next door. And something else that I want to mention is that the TMDL process is really a collaborative process that seeks to engage stakeholders in the local watershed. So she will be back here probably this fall doing meetings and soliciting your input on whether her evaluations and calculations are appropriate. Because once we have the TMDLs, that involves a whole new process of compliance for us. Okay. So you saw the slides. We have impairments. They're both natural and exacerbated by legacy mining. So where do we start? What do we do? Can we make an impact? There have been studies that generalize that basically 50%, like Pam said, of the loading is natural, 50% is anthropogenic. So can we do something about that 50%? And where do we start? It's a big project, right? So generally we start with site characterization, and there have been numerous efforts in our watershed over the years that have that seek to make assessments so we can prioritize projects and then inform our designs for implementation. So River Watch program is through the state. It's a citizen non-volunteer effort, and it's been going on in our watershed since 2002. I think we're one of the original groups, and it's been collected by, in the lower watershed in recent years by UWP, and then a volunteer from the area in the upper watershed. So that gives us kind of the baseline pulse of the watershed. And the sampling is done on the main stem. So if we see any spikes or anything out of the ordinary, River Watch is a great tool to pick that up. But it's all some really valuable data that is used by the state in their rulemaking processes. The Uncompahgre Watershed Partnership has been assisting all these other agencies in various ways for the last few years. collecting data at headwater sites. So areas where we think there are loading sources, and then we bracket those and try to collect water quality and macroinvertebrates to get an idea of how a particular source might be contributing to the problem. The EPA has been in our watershed on and off for years. We've done different assessments. Currently, they're working in the Lake Como in our headwaters, where they collected samples at numerous sites, dumps, and discharges, and will be coming back this year.
It's coming back.
to do some more. I think the next thing on there was Water Quality Control Division. They're a great collaborator from the state, especially Scapini, who helps out with resources
Sorry about that.
bringing his crews and tools to sample. His program, the Measurable Results, is really tasked at evaluating loading and helping watershed groups and local entities prioritize projects. So he's been here in various sub-basins. Another entity that's really critical is DRMS, especially this guy right here, Jeff Little, who's chomped all over these mountains in search of draining adits and waste, and oftentimes comes back and says, okay, we gotta go sample here. So another effort that Jeff's been involved in, this has been a statewide effort, and I just want to highlight it. And Jeff, is there more information on that or not?
I think it's kind of evolving.
But you don't have a flyer today, do you? No. Okay. So this has been a statewide effort that was initiated in. I thought I had until 10. No, 10
But you started 5 minutes early.
Anyway, so there's a lot of information. I think we're going to head into the questions.
Okay.
Okay, so could we skip to the next one? So they've been inventorying draining mines that don't have any active treatment in Uray County. They collected data for 12 sites. So next, I just want to highlight some of the projects. So we'll go to the next one. One of the critical ones has been at the Idarado site. It started in the 1980s and it's been ongoing. And tomorrow morning we'll feature all the details on what's been done today and what's coming down the pipeline. So we'll talk about that one. Next we have UWP's projects. There's 3 of them. The first one was done at the Uncompahgre River at the Michael Green site, and we basically, the problem here was that the draining adit, even though it was benign, was flowing over waste rock and into the Uncompahgre River. So we put in a hydrologic control that diverted that drainage and is reducing the leaching and removes pollution that's coming out of the waste rock. We did some revegetation work also at that site. The last step was to evaluate our success. So we collected data before and after the project, both water quality and measured macroinvertebrates, and the data are being compiled and compared to standards. So we should know the impact, the impact of the project. The next one was last year at the Vernon mine at Great Copper Gulch, where there was a lot of waste rock right in the gulch, and it was being also leached by the draining adits there. Okay. So we removed about 1,500 cubic yards of waste from that, and then we vegetated it. So that was last year. The third site was the Sneffels Creek project, where we'll be going to tomorrow, so you'll find out all the details. But this was a streamline stabilization effort, where we stabilized the channel from meandering into the tailings and eroding into the river. So that was an upper Sneffels Creek up here. There's future work planned by Uray Silver Mines and other partners to remediate the extensive tailings. They're also doing some great things at their site, and you'll hear about those more later today in the field tours tomorrow. They're also proposing work up in Governor Basin, where they will be working with partners to move this high buffering capacity waste rock and using it to cap these other tailings that are more reactive, and then consolidating these other tailings into that one and building a bioreactor that will collect all the surface runoff and passively treat it before discharging into the headwaters. This drainage here, is coming out of the Humboldt mine. Go ahead. which is also shown,
Is that what you wanted? Back?
no, right here. And this will be a partnership with TU and other partners, and we're waiting to hear on a grant, hopefully this week or next week. We'll be doing assessments there, but also doing non-point source mitigation to decrease loading from that area into the headwaters of the Sneffels Creek. And then the last one quickly, this is still in the works, but the EPA has been here, and they're evaluating Hamburg level 14 site. It's going to be determined who's actually going to do the on-the-ground work. But the basic approach here would be to grade the tailings, cap them, vegetate them, decrease interaction with Sneffels, Imogene, and Canyon Creek. And then the last slide, which is my concluding slide, you can ask me questions, is that, are we making a difference? I think we are, but it largely depends on your perspective. We're all coming from different expertise and different social memories. We have different values, but I think if we look at these projects collectively, and you'll hear more about that today, is that we are seeking to make environmental impacts on local communities in terms of preserving our mining heritage and the natural landscapes and aesthetics. We are looking towards innovative technologies to make big impacts, especially ones that are looking into the long-term planning for the future. And then I think you'll see today that in terms of collaboration from assessment to implementation, that's key. And I think the diversity of the people in this room demonstrates that we are definitely making headway in that regard. Okay. Yes, go ahead, Camille.
Why isn't the lower segment of Red Mountain Creek not on the impaired reading list?
We have a specialist here to answer that.
Can you repeat the question?
The question, Camille's question was, if you noticed, because she was looking, I said that the upper Red Mountain Creek is listed on 303 list. The stretch of Red Mountain Creek, where Idarado has been doing a lot of the work, is not. But do you want to answer that, Holly? I think I know the answer, but you can articulate it better.
Maybe. So the upper portion has different water quality standards than the lower portion. The aquatic life standards and uses are applied at the upper portion, but not from Idarado down. They don't have the aquatic life standards. So those metal standards that are impaired in the upper portion aren't on the list because of that.
Other question? I apologize, I had to rush through that. Yes.
Where do you anticipate getting most of your funding for some of these future projects from the federal government?
Repeat that.
That's a great question. I think we'll learn today, hopefully.
Will you repeat
The
that?
question was, where do we expect to get funding for these projects? The projects that are completed by Idarado and US Silver Mines, the companies here, that's work that's paid largely out of their pockets, and they've given us, the local watershed group, cash match or income contributions for a lot of implementation. The UWP projects that I ran through quickly have been funded by the state's non-point source grant, which is a 4-year, 5-year grant. And that's been a huge milestone for us and many other watershed groups. So I think a lot of the reclamation work done in the San Juan Fair watershed groups has been funded by that. The state is currently revising its approach to funding and prioritizing remediation efforts. So it's not likely that we'll see a whole lot of funding in the next 2 years. And it will also largely depend on EPA and their funding, because that funds, the state non-point source funding is EPA money. So there are some considerations there. And in partnership with DRMS, we do get some cash match for remediation work. Their priorities are on safety closures, but I think they're kind of diversifying into remediation. So it's mostly, and it costs a lot because it involves a lot of heavy equipment getting to a very difficult and inaccessible site. Yes.
Now, you said that 50% of the cause is natural sources. That you're targeting the mining impact, basically, the other 50%. If you remediate all of that, you still meet the water quality standards, and if you don't, is that okay?
I think that's a question for all of us that we struggle with here. The question was, so I said it's a 50-50 split of loading, 50% natural, 50 man-made. If we fix the 50% anthropogenic, do we meet the water quality standards, and is that good enough? Will it get us? I don't think we have adequate tools yet to know how big that impact is going to be. That's something that we're working on with the state continuously. Because some of the mineralization is just naturally so high, are we going to see bugs at Red Mountain Creek fish? Were they ever there? Probably not. So, but we can make an impact in the other streams. So by the time water flows downhill, right? So by the time you get to Uray, can we have a fishery there? Potentially, there have been there are anecdotes and historic writings from miners fishing for trout in Uray. We don't see that today.